D'accord, je peux lancer le départ sans faire ça. Ok. D'accord, merci. Hein? Vous avez dit avant? D'accord. Pas le départ. D'accord. Moi je sais pas, c'est la première fois.
C'est à la fin, ils vont mettre ça quel podium.
Et les caméras, il y a dessus.
Oui, il n'y a pas de caméra dessus, c'est con. C'est bien une petite scène comme ça. Ouais, ça coûte un peu du cul de tranquilliser.
C'est dire comment tu arrives pour comme Australie.
Ça fait tout coup.
Je repasse en face. Et c'est là qu'on met les tapis. Et que je...
Ah, tu me prends juste
Oui.
combien les vidéos, les gars, il y a le graphique en gros.
Le tapis, il y en a un là-bas.
Nous, le pot, il n'y a pas de...
Il n'y a pas derrière, celui-là. Tournez-vous.
L'autre, il l'a enlevé.
Toggy.
I'm always looking for a way to go faster. So I helped create a shoe to make it happen. One that extends my stride to let me go faster, easier. A shoe to help me find my speed.
Good morning and welcome to Domaine Les Bois Adem. I'm Cathal Dennehy and I'm joined by Adam Katz-Sinding, and we are here today for the ASICS Be at Your Personal Best event. We are situated in Center Parcs Resort in the idyllic French countryside. We're just over 300 kilometres from Paris, about 150 kilometres from Nantes, but today the only distance that really matters are 5 and 10 kilometres, because those are the two distances that some of Europe's finest distance runners will be racing today. Adam, I know you've had a chance over the last couple of days to get out on the course here, and it looks like a fast one. How did it feel?
Yeah, I got out yesterday and made a little attempt for my personal best on the 5K course. I couldn't hold it for a 10K, but it's extremely flat, which is super nice. I think I had an overall gain of about 14 height meters approximately. It's an out and back, so you go out 2.5K, and there's a big, nice sweeping roundabout. And then you come back the same way. Finish line and start line are the same, just about 150 meters beyond us here. I made my personal best. It was my first time running in the new Metaspeed Sky, an extremely fast and lightweight shoe.
I think that the shoe is obviously part of the conversation every
Sure.
time there's a distance race these days. And it was your first time trying them yesterday. How did they feel? And most importantly, were they faster than your previous pair?
Yeah, so normally I'm training in the Nova Blast. I've been running in that shoe for about 6 to 8 months, and I slipped these on yesterday just to give them a shot. Substantially lighter. I felt like I was rolling off the toe pretty easily. I felt like I was flying. I mean, I looked at my watch and I couldn't believe my pace compared to my normal pace. So it was pretty exciting to see what I was capable of with the right equipment, for sure.
Great. Well, if they work for you, hopefully they'll work for a lot of Europe's best athletes today, because all the athletes you'll be watching will be wearing the Metaspeed Sky here. And the first race that's going to be up, we'll let Adam get over to the course, and I'll be taking you through this first race, which will be a 10-kilometre battle. Adam will be our live reporter over. He'll be checking in with some of the athletes as soon as they hopefully come home with a few personal bests. First race that's going to be going, and it's kicking off in about 5 minutes time. It's going to be the men's and women's 10 kilometres, and then at 9:55 local time it's going to be the men's and women's 5 kilometres. They're all running together here today. As you can see, some shots there from the course. They're all getting ready. Athletes, of course, have had to go through a number of procedures to make it here from all over Europe. Many COVID tests. I had some myself. They were quite torturous, to be honest. I think the lady in the booth didn't like me very much this morning, but such are the sacrifices you have to make these days if you want to travel to one of these events, and all these athletes have made big sacrifices, as have so many behind the scenes. The first race that's going to be coming up, like I said, the men and women are going to be setting off together, and we have some real stars in this of European distance running. In the men's race, we've got Sondre Nordstad Moen of Norway, and he is going to be having one eye on Jakob Ingebrigtsen's Norwegian 10-kilometre record, which is 27:54. Moon's personal best, 27:55. He spoke yesterday, though. He said it was what he considered a fake record, and not in any way a slight on Jacob Ingebrigtsen with that statement. In fact, anything, it was a compliment, saying that the record should really be about 30 seconds faster, and Moen will have eyes on perhaps setting that Norwegian record today. The conditions here are just about perfect. If you could script a morning for distance running, this would be pretty close to it. It's about 11 degrees. There's about an 8-mile-an-hour wind, which we hope won't pick up too much more. But like we said, the course has very good shelter. It's tree-lined most of the way. Out and back, 2.5 kilometers out, 2.5 kilometers back. They'll go around the roundabout in between. And we will expect, obviously, the 10K runners have to go around that twice, demoralizing as it may be. So we're just about 2.5 minutes away from the start of the men's and women's 10 kilometers. So like I said, in the men's race, Sondre Moen will be the big star, along with Belgium's Koen Naert, the European marathon champion in 2018 in Berlin. They'll be the big two to watch there, along with Sweden's Napoleon Solomon. But of course, in the women's race, we have great strength as well. Most notably from Eritrea's Mekdes Woldu, who's been living in France now for about 9 years. She fled to France as a refugee. We'll take you through the full start list there, as you can see on your screen. Napoleon Solomon of Sweden, Beate Popadiak of Poland, Samuel Denis of Italy, Sondre Nordstad Moen of Norway, George Blanco of Spain, Damien Kabat of Poland, Sharik Abdirazak of France, Johan Durand of France, and Merhawi Gebrselassie of Ethiopia will be pacing the women's field. And in the men's race, that's Kenya's Inik Onchari, who will be straight out front, and he is a pacemaker, along with Hilary Bet Kipkoech. You can see some of the more domestic athletes there, the French athletes in the women's race, setting off in that second group. But the full lineup for the women's race: Eritrea's Mekdes Woldu, she'll be the hot favourite there, and we'd expect her to come home in front. She has a personal best of 32.16, so a class apart, it appears, in this field. But Austria's Julia Meyer will be going after an Austrian record here today. Her personal best is 33.47, but she thinks, talking to her yesterday, that she can take about 30 seconds off that, hopefully, and challenge Andrea Meyer's Austrian record. Also in the women's race, from France, we have Clara Pavlovic, we have Louise Serban-Penot, we have Belgium's Juliette Thomas. From Poland, we have Beate Popadiak. And then from France, we have, that's a pacemaker. And then from France, we have Francois Parag. So they're setting off in the men's race in just a minute in. And we expect that the pace will go around about the 2:45 or 2:47 per kilometre. Sondre Moen, as we said, looking for that sub 28-minute time. And I mean, like we said, you couldn't find a better day for distance running than we have here in Domaine Les Bois Adam. Sondre Moen settling in there in third place in that ASICS kit, and of course wearing that Metaspeed Sky, which we'll be talking about a bit later on, with the European marketing director from ASICS. Will be digging into the details of that shoe, trying to uncover all the secrets of just what makes it so special. So the big two in this field, they are racing against each other, but of course they're also racing against the clock. We can't forget that, because the idea here, it's not so much a competitive outlet as much as these athletes are competitive and will be trying to compete with each other. It's all about being at or beating your personal best, and both Sondre Moen and Koen Naert there beside him will very much have their personal bests under close watch here. Koen Naert's personal best is 28.37, goes back to 2019, but he has been training very well in recent months, and he is quite confident of a big showing here today. So they're just settling in behind the two pacers as they're going through here. We'll try to bring you an update on the times if we get them, as we can try to keep our eyes peeled for those kilometre markers whenever we can. Like we said, 2:45 to 2:48 per kilometre would be the goal, and we'll see if they can manage that. That appears to be the first kilometre there in about 2:48, so it looks like they're right on pace. Sondre Moen in recent times has been training in Kenya and training back in Norway. He actually, due to COVID restrictions, spends much of the year in Kenya, does the Norwegian, but due to COVID restrictions he had to stay in Norway for a lot of the recent times. So he said he was training in much colder weather, I guess, than he was used to in January and February, but he did the best he could. Ran on the treadmill, but I suppose he said with gyms being closed, he had to force himself out into the Norwegian snow, the depths of winter, all too often. So his preparation wasn't ideal, and he said he's very glad to be back in slightly warmer conditions here today. His story, Sondre Moen, is one of the best really you'd come across in the sport. You know, he's grew up as a cross-country skier. he's never had much speed in his legs, but when it comes to endurance, Sondre Moen is an absolute animal there in second. He just does not stop going. He runs about 200 to 220 kilometers per week, and coached, of course, by the great Italian Renato Canova for the last few years. And he spends about half the year training in E10 in Kenya, and about the other half of the year either in Norway or in Sestriere in Italy. Loves living up at altitude, and he's spoken before about, I guess, the grind that comes along with being a world-class distance runner, and how boring his life is, really. I remember last year he told me he just gets up at 7 a.m, light breakfast, out the door at 8:30, 9 o'clock. Then after that has another breakfast, hits the gym, naps, another run in the afternoon, and then he's in bed by 9:30 at night. He said, I might go weeks and weeks without speaking to anyone unless I venture into the local coffee shop. So he said it's a very boring life, but it's a very, I guess, fulfilling life as well, clearly, for Sondre Moen, who is, I mean, he's one of the best distance runners in the world, and he's certainly a great of European distance running, and he is going to be going all out here to try and break that Norwegian record of 10 kilometers, which is 27:54. And you can see there he's already just pushing up on the pacemaker at the moment and really trying to impose himself and to push things along. But Koen Naert is certainly no fear from him at the moment. He is going with this pace, and that's what he said yesterday when I was speaking to him. He said training has gone well, he's very confident in his ability, and he will be trying to give it all he's got here. And one of the other he actually said to me that he's going to go until he explodes, Koen Naert. He's just going to give it hell and try and chase down Sondre Moen. So we'll see if he's able to. He said, if I blow, it might make for a very painful last 3 kilometers. But he'll cross that bridge when he comes to Koen Naert there on the right of your screen. But Sondre Moen at the moment, well, the pacemakers may be pacemakers, but he's doing as much of a job for the rest of the field as anyone else, because he is really pushing things along here, and Koen Naert just trying to stick in his slipstream and hang on for as long as possible. The goal will be, like I said, to run about 2:48 or so per kilometre. That would bring them in and around the sub 28-minute pace. If possible, they're looking for about 5:30 at 2k, and the goal at 3k will be in and around the 8:20 or so mark. Sondre Moen just applying the pressure, and I see there he's having a chat with the pacemakers, just telling them, get up here, get in front, we're not going fast enough. But I'm sure it's fast enough for the others right now. The wind does not seem to be picking up. Temperature's about 12 degrees at the moment. It'll probably be a little bit warmer for the 5k, which we've got coming up later on. In the women's race there, we'll have Sarah Latti of Sweden. In the men's race, of course, Julian Wanders will be going after certainly his own personal best of 13:29, but perhaps the European record of 13:18 by Jimmy Gressier. Julian Wanders, of course, is the European record holder at 10 kilometers and a half marathon on the roads. Can he add the 5 kilometers to that? But our pacemakers are pushing things along nicely here at the moment. We'll try and get an update on the women's race if our motorbikes allow going back to field, because we expect that Mekdes Woldu will prove a class apart there as she goes after her personal best of 32:16. And we see a very strong move here, I suppose, from the pacemakers. And the pacemakers did mention, some of the pacemakers in the men's or in the 5k later on have said that they will be finishing this race. They are training partners of Julian Wanders, of course, who like Moen is based in E10 in Kenya for a large part of the year, and also coached by Renato Canova. So we'll try and keep an eye out here for the 3 kilometer marker. We don't have live splits coming through, but of course this course and everything else is all in line with World Athletics accreditation as they pass. There they are going through the 3 kilometer marker. No, it's not. It's I was fooled by the flag. That's a marker possibly for the second lap, I think. That might be the 8k marker. Slightly different finish lines here today for the 10k and the 5k, but we would expect, if it goes to form, for Sondre Moen to come home in front here today. But we've seen shocks in the past at these events, and we might see one again. And in terms of as we see there, Mekdes Woldu leading the women's race behind the pacemaker. That's Marhawi Gebrselassie, her fellow Eritrean and a good friend of hers, who is pacing her along. And she thinks she can run in and around 31:40 here today. You see the pacemaker just doing the old distance runner thing of putting that one arm out and just saying, get up here alongside me. But I'm sure she's benefiting from the slipstream there, and I guess the mental relaxation, the way you can switch off a bit by drafting on an athlete, it always helps in an event as grueling as this 10 kilometers. And as they're really pushing things along here at the front, and this is Hilary Betkid-Koesch, he was down as a pacemaker, but he is setting a heck of a pace at the moment. He's a 28-28 man at his best for 10 kilometers on the road, but he's a 2:11 marathoner as well. And he's just run a cross-country race in Eldoret earlier this year, finished 11th. So he comes here sharp. I think finishing 11th in just about any cross-country race in Eldoret probably means you're in pretty good fitness levels, and he is really sticking it to Sondre Moen at the moment. As you can see there, the break back in the pack. Sondre Moen has left the others. He is going after Hilary Betkid-Koesch. Well, he may be listed as a pacemaker in ours, but he is very much leading the field at Merry Dance at the moment. And we will see as they come through. They're now on their way back towards the start line for them to complete the first of 2 laps. We expect they'll get here in and around the kind of 13:45, 13 to 55 region. Hopefully it'll be on for a sub 28-minute clocking, which would be great running. Of course, hosting an event like this is so difficult in a pandemic, and you have to take your hat off to all the people behind the scenes here. It's been a long project, and we'll hear a little bit about it later from some of the people at ASICS that have gone into making this event possible. But it's been, the conception, I suppose, has gone dated back to last year to host an event for elite athletes, but the actual execution of it has taken 2 months of hard work, as many events have fallen victim to the pandemic all around Europe and indeed around the world. This one has managed to get over the line in a very safe environment, and it's required a lot of people moving heaven and earth to make it happen. But Mekdes Woldu there, who we saw as we see the athletes passing, and again, we'll try not to be confused by those kilometer markers as they pass by in the background, but if we keep our eyes out, we'll be able to see. And Hilary Betkid-Koesch has taken a long look over his shoulder there and seen Sondre Moen, and I'm sure Sondre Moen might be wondering, does he think it's a 5 kilometers? But Hilary Bet, I'm sure, knows well what he's doing, and he is putting the hurt here on the entire field. Obviously feels good, but he could be on for a massive, massive personal best here if he maintains this, because he is putting serious. He passed 4 kilometers there in 11:04 about, and I would say the others go through in about, so it's 2:45 per kilometer, which would be 27:30 pace, works out. And so 11:04, he's only 4 seconds down at the moment. So he's running about 27:40 to 27:45 pace. And for a man whose personal best on the roads is 28:28, Hilary Betkid-Koesch is laying down the gauntlet here to Sondre Moen. I think Sondre Moen back in second will have gone through in about 11:10. So we'd expect really that's still a sub 28-minute pace. And again, that Norwegian record, 27:54, to the wunderkind Jacob Ingebrigtsen. He's not so too young anymore, but certainly his performances are that of an established champion, senior mature athlete. But Hilary Betkid-Koesch is churning it out here at the front, so we'll see what he is when he comes through the finish line. But he'll probably be looking at something in and around the 13:50 mark as he comes through halfway. Mekdes Woldu there of Eritrea, but I say Eritrea to anyone who's been around French athletics, and particularly in Francoville, they'll know all about Mekdes Woldu. She is 28 years old. Her PB for this distance is 32:16. Mekdes, she started Meki, as her friends know her. She started athletics when she was 11. She played football in Eritrea, but she was part of the Eritrean national team from the age of 16. She was Eritrean junior cross-country champ from 2009 to 2011. First trip to Europe was in 2010. She finished 14th in the world under-20 cross-country the following year. But in 2012, as the conflict was ongoing in Eritrea, she was under threat of being recruited into the military. And to avoid that happening against her will, Mekdes fled to France, and then she stayed with her brother in Switzerland for a while. And then she moved back to France in 2013, where she sought asylum as a political refugee. With the help of many people in French athletics and in French society, she managed to secure that and make a new life for herself in France. And she has contributed so much to the fabric of French athletics. As we see passing through halfway here, Hilary Betkid-Koesch Bet is actually quite a little bit short of halfway. That is the finish line that he'll be running through in about 5 kilometers time. So we'll keep an eye on the clock here as he does. Like we said, something in and around the 13:50. He's probably built up a 20-second lead there on Sondre Moen. and he'll be passing the 5 kilometre marker quite soon, I would imagine. So this is obviously the key split we need to keep an eye on. They've set a nice, relatively not too strict loop. I think that's the 5 kilometre marker there, and it looked like 13:49 or so. So we're looking at something in and around the 27:40 region, and he is absolutely flying. Takes a look at the watch there. He'll be, I'm sure, uploading it somewhere, or just maybe keeping it for his own records later, but he has started hot. Can he possibly maintain this pace? Because it's a strong one, but he looks very strong at the moment, and he looks stronger than everyone else in this field. As we see some of the other athletes coming through there, Samuel Denis, Damien Kabat as well, but Hilary Beth Kipkoesh has laid down the gauntlet. His marathon PB dates back to 2018 at 2:11:48. He's run 64:28 for the half marathon, but really we haven't seen much from him to suggest a performance like this was coming, at least so far, but he's certainly doing as well as he can up to halfway. As we see here, these are your splits at halfway. Sondre Moen 14:03, he's just outside that 28-minute pace he was hoping for. Koen Naert though at 14:08, he is well on track to smash his personal best, which is 28:37 at the moment. So we should see a lot of personal best falling as we go down the fields here. But Hilary Beth Kipkoesh, he is churning it out here, and we expected Sondre Moen perhaps to be ahead or to be paced by Hilary Beth Kipkoesh, but Kipkoesh has said, to heck with that, I'm going for it. And fair play to him. But Sondre Moen is now isolated in second, and he'll be trying to run down. If he can pick it up a little in the second half, he'll be able to still get pretty near his personal best at 27:55, but he'll need to find something quite special, I suppose, to break it, and indeed to go after that Norwegian record of Jacob Ingebrigtsen's. But speaking to some of the other athletes yesterday, like Koen Naert, as we see him go back to Mekdes Woldu, we'll try and see what she is on as she comes through. She thought she could run in and around 31:40 here, so she'll be looking for a split in and around 15:50 at halfway. I think she just has to go around that. The 5k marker is just on the other side of that turn, so I would imagine we'll try and bring you an update on that. There it is there indeed, and she goes through in 15:58. So her personal best is, I think it's 32:16, so she's through in under 16 minutes, and Mekdes Woldu is flying. And for those interested in the future of French athletics, there's good news to report today on the front of Mekdes Woldu, because she has officially, well, unofficially I think at the moment, secured her French citizenship. And it's been a process that has been about 4 years in the making, and it's currently being confirmed. And it's just that once a month, when the French new citizenships are confirmed, she has to wait for the official paperwork to come through. But that will be happening in the next month. And Mekdes Woldu, she's obviously for years run for Eritrea, and then for years been unable to run for anyone while seeking political asylum in France. But she will be eligible to run for France internationally this summer, and she will be very much targeting that women's 10,000 metre standard for the Olympics. And on the basis of what we're seeing here, at least through halfway, she looks well capable of securing that 10,000 metre standard. Her story really is one of the great ones in distance running, and I suppose it shows so much of the value of what athletics can be at its best. One of her club mates at Francoville said that it's an understatement to say that Mekdes is brave. She's become part of the fabric of the club up there. She's a coach, she's a full-time athlete in essence, but she also coaches. She coaches children from 5 to 17-year-olds a few times a week. For the last few months, Mekdes has been training in Kenya, and she hopes to go back there afterwards to prepare for the Olympics, but again with COVID she admitted it might be a little tricky. But she is certainly showing great form here. For this race, Woldu had been running about 110 to 120k a week in preparation, and she, like she said, she should be running under 32 minutes, she thinks, here today, maybe in and around 31:40. And of course she'll need to take a little bit more off that 10 seconds or so to secure the automatic standard for the Olympic Games, but it looks like something she is well capable of. And after this she'll be running she's sizing up some 10,000 metre opportunities on the circuit in Stockholm and Portugal, and I think her manager was telling me yesterday that she's looking at the European 10,000 metre Cup in June. And indeed in the Netherlands on the 12th of June there's also a very good 10,000 metre race set to take place. So the deadline of course for Olympic qualification, end of June, pretty much last weekend in June. So these are key months for the delayed Olympic Games and all the athletes who are trying to make it there. But back to the men's race. And it's our man Hillary out front, absolutely crushing it. You can hear the pitter-patter there of his feet as he hits the ground. He is really powering along. He's got a short stride for a tall man, but it's proving highly effective here, and he has run this field into oblivion. Running, as we said, in that as Metaspeed Sky Racers, as we get a little shot of them, and he's putting them to good effect. And it's an interesting concept, the Metaspeed Sky. They are the runner built for what's called the stride runner. They separated two of the ASICS super shoes into stride runners and cadence runners. Cadence runners, athletes who increase their speed by increasing their cadence, and stride runners, athletes who, when they pick up their speed, their stride gets longer. And stride runners, I suppose, are defined as they have more vertical oscillation in their stride. They have higher hips they have than cadence runners, and their foot tends to strike under the hip rather than slightly in front of the hip. But the Metaspeed Sky, we'll go into some of the details of it later on, but it's not quite as deep as some of the other super shoes on the market. The stack height is 33 millimeters, which is still quite thick, but not as thick as some of the others, but it's extremely lightweight. 199 grams for men, 165 grams, so it's lighter than most of the other super shoes on the market. And just speaking to some of the ASICS people here over the last couple of days, as we see 1915, we'll come back to that in a moment, because that is a key split for Hillary Beth Koesch. And that is right on pace for 27.30. He has picked it up since halfway. And Adam did mention to me earlier that the current prevailing winds means that they have a slight tailwind there as they go out towards that first half of the loop. It is a kind of a curve, but it goes out and back, a C-shaped course, I suppose. But he is right on pace now, 245 kilometers to run in something around 27.30, which would be brilliant running by Hillary Beth Koesch. It'd be a PB by a minute on the roads for the 30-year-old, as we see him wandering around the road there, following that motorbike. And it looks like he's put this race to bed as competitive opportunities. We see the 8K split time, 20:25, which is, that could not be right, I think. He's not. This is not a world record we're looking at here, so that's an incorrect split we just saw at 8K. But back to Sondre Moen, and you can see the hurt on his face. He is really in the hurt locker now. He's been in good shape recently. He said in the last 4 or 5 months he's only missed about 4 or 5 days training, but a real crushing blow for him and so many other athletes came at the Ras Al Khaimah half marathon in the United Arab Emirates. He was in great shape for that back in February, but the race of course was cancelled. So he said after that he couldn't stay in that good shape or try to hold that good shape for so long, so he backed off, and he's just trying to chase down George Blanco of Spain, who's a 29:13 10K runner on the roads, but he looks like he's going to smash that. And we see Koen Naert there just about 30 meters back the field. He looks like he might be running down Sondre Moen, but George Blanco looks to be leading the battle for second at the moment. But like we said, we say a battle for second, but truly the idea of this race here, it's kind of a team ethic from ASICS, and it's everyone for each other but for themselves against the clock and against their personal bests. And hopefully some of you watching will be inspired on this Saturday morning. I hope it's as beautiful wherever you are as it is here, because to get out and be at your own personal best. But Hillary Beth Koesch has run this field into the ground, and this is actually the 8 kilometer split. We've got a false one registered there, which looks like about 22:07 as he comes through. So 2 kilometers or so to go for Hillary Beth. Yeah, we've seen some of the splits I think we've been seeing might have been slightly off, so if that was correct and he has 2 kilometers to go, he'd be looking at something in and around the 28-minute region. But still, with a personal best of 28:28, that would be fantastic running. Sondre Moen there, 30-year-old, and he is still holding on to 3rd place at the moment. Can he challenge his personal best? It looks like he might be a little bit outside it today, but he is hurting in a big way. Of course, this is a relative sprint for the Norwegian. He's getting ready for the Olympic marathon. And speaking to him yesterday, he is not shy about his goal for the Olympic marathon. I said, what is it? He said, a medal. He said, I know that's difficult, but why not? So he's going to be planning to do a bit of training in Italy in the coming months. Try to get used to the conditions like Sapporo in Japan. The Olympic marathon, of course, has been held more than 1,000 kilometers away from Tokyo, north, for hopefully a little bit cooler temperatures than we'll expect in early August. Tomorrow it's 15 weeks to the Olympic men's marathon. So Sondre Moen says he's going to be getting ready for that, and that's the big goal. And we'll be talking to his coach Renato Canova, so we'll be trying to get some insights from one of the masters in world coaching about what some of the best out there do. And Sondre Moen, like I said, a relative sprint here today, but if it sets him up for a good training block in those final 15 weeks before the biggest goal of all, the Olympic marathon, and that medal dream is still alive for Sondre Moen, and especially in hot conditions like we might face, humid conditions in Japan, you never know who will come out on top. Hilary Kipkoech though looks to be coming out firmly on top here, and he's just chasing that motorbike, and it's almost annoying, I suppose, looking at that time on the screen, 24 minutes or so, and it's constantly in your face, knowing exactly how many minutes you have left to run. Koen Naert there, he is really running hard here. He said he's going to go until he explodes, but it doesn't look to be exploding yet, but you can see that pain absolutely etched on his face here. 24 minutes on the clock, so he'll have about 4 minutes running left to do, the Belgian. And again, like Moen, he is very much getting ready for the Olympic marathon. Koen Naert, he's one of the really nice guys in the sport and nice guys outside of the sport. He's a qualified nurse. He took time out when he qualified for the Rio Olympics out of his nursing career, and then became a full-time athlete. But even in 2016, when the Brussels bombings happened in Belgium, he was on his way to a physio. He picked up the phone, he called the ward where he used to work. It was a burn care centre, and he said, "Can I help?" And they said, "Yes, we're overrun, we would take any help." And he went back to work a few months before the Rio Olympics and helped out in that burns ward. It's been a busy week for Koen Naert as well. He had a baby daughter, Yada, just a week ago, and obviously a busy time in anyone's life for his father. And he said that his wife said to him, you know, he was unsure about coming away to race, but his wife Elise said to him, "There's so few races on the horizon, go, I want you to go." And so he did. He came here 2 days ago, and I'm sure he'll be going back later on, and busy times ahead. That was his second child came along. He also has a 4-year-old son. So congratulations to Koen and indeed his wife. But Hilary Kipkoech is well on his way here to seeking the congratulations of the crowd. Well, we don't have a crowd, but I suppose the support staff here to finish. There'll be a warm round of applause for him. 24:48 at 9K. So he's well on his way here to something very good. And if we add, say, 245, 250 kilometre to that, he's looking for at something in and around the 27:40 to 27:50 mark. It's really, really good running by Hilary Kipkoech, and like we said, 28:28 is his PB, so that's going to be absolutely smashed here by Hilary Kipkoech. We'll try and check in as well on Mekdes Woldu in the women's race. I'm sure we've motorbikes all around the course here, and it's probably getting a bit confusing them to keep up and follow all the athletes and try to tell their stories as we get a shot at the Metaspeed Sky there, and they're going too fast really to get a good look at them. But we'll have a chat with people from ASICS later, and we'll give you a much better look at the latest in the line of super shoes that have revolutionized this sport and continue to do so. I'm sure the full effect of them there is being felt as we see Mekdes Woldu has come through 8K in 25:30, and that's great running from her. Can she keep it up? 31:40 pace, that would be 25:20 would have been the split she would have been looking at to continue running 310 kilometers. So, but she's still on course for something under 32 minutes, and like we said, her personal best coming into this was 32:16. So exciting times ahead for Mekdes Woldu, and indeed for French distance running, because like we said, the wonderful news that Mekdes Woldu is going to become officially a French citizen this month, and she will be eligible to compete for France internationally, whether it be on the track, whether it be on over cross country, or whether it is on the roads in the future if she decides to go the way of that marathon. She impressed last month. There is Mekdes Woldu. She impressed last month in Dresden half in March with a PB of 1:10:50. But we'll go back to our men's champion, because Hilary Kipkoech, the 30-year-old Kenyan, he has run this field. He was listed as a pacemaker, but he has paced it all the way to the finish. 27:34:35 as he comes through the line. Checks his watch, and that looks like a casual jog for the Kenyan. What a performance. That is a personal best by just under a minute. An outstanding performance by Hilary Kipkoech. He stops to watch. That might end up on Strava or Garmin or wherever they're putting it, but I'm sure his coach will be very impressed with that. For a man who has a 64:28 half marathon coming in, a PB in the marathon going back to 2018 of 2:11:41, it is an outstanding. His only race this year was 11th in a cross-country race in Eldoret, but like I said, Kenyan cross-country, it may as well be the world cross-country, so it's probably a good indicator of the form he was in. But back to Mekdes Woldu in the women's race. Her PB was set in Nice in 2020, but that looks like it's going to be obliterated as we look back the field. This is George Blanco coming in. 29.13 is his personal best. He's taken 45 seconds off that. Outstanding stuff from the 27-year-old Spaniard. Here comes Sondre Moen, 28.35. Koen Naert, 28. It was about 37. Koen Naert is going to be very close. It's not a personal best for Sondre Moen, but a good sharpener ahead of his marathon training to come. Koen Naert looked like he crossed in about 27.37 or so. Or 28.37. His personal best is 28.37, so we'll await official confirmation for that. He would be delighted. As he said, he was going to go until he exploded. He very much did not explode, Koen Naert. So that's to be a great confidence booster for him as he heads back into marathon training ahead of the Olympics. You see the pain etched on the faces here, the athletes. It is ideal temperatures, ideal conditions here. There really is no excuse not for running fast, and most of the athletes are indeed breaking their personal bests. The tagline of the day is be at your personal best, but well, as the word can also be used, beat your personal best. Mekdes Woldu, you see the pain there etched on her face. It is all written all over. 28.35. Can she produce another 3:10 kilometer to come in? That's around the pace she's been running, 3:10, 3:12. That would bring her back in 31.45 or so, 31.50. It'd be a huge personal best for Mekdes Woldu, the 28-year-old Eritrean born naturalized French citizen, and she is having a great year so far with a personal best over the half marathon, and she looks like she's about to obliterate her personal best at 10k. And as her clubmate said up in Francoville, it's an understatement to see that she's brave. If we look there at the pacer, turned out to be the racer. Hilary Kipkoech ran all over this field, takes victory by an astonishing margin, 53 seconds clear of George Blanco. Personal best for him in second. Sondre Nordstad Moen, another good run in third, 28.34. And Koen Naert, 1 second, he's under his personal bests. So he was the definition of being at and beating your personal best. Brilliant run from Koen Naert. And he'll be going back into the heavy stuff soon enough. He said he's going to take an easy week next week. He's going to train at home for 3 weeks. And then he's off to E10 in Kenya as well for the month of June to train. And then he'll be back for a week to see his family again before heading off to Tokyo in July. And he mentioned in the car yesterday as well, we were sharing the transfer over here, that Belgium will be vaccinating all its Olympians. And as a nurse, of course, he's quite conscious of the need for vaccinations against COVID-19. He'll be getting that before he heads off to Tokyo. And again, he has big ambitions, the European marathon champion there. But back to Mekdes Woldu, because she is powering to the finish here. You can see Marhawi Gebrselassie there, her pacemaker, her friend, her fellow Eritrean, has pulled a little bit ahead of each other. He is also based in France. But Mekdes Woldu, the pain here she is going through, but she is giving it everything. Her personal best, as I said, 32.16, and she is on the final run to the finish here. She'll be coming up, she'll get and catch that finish line. She'll be trying to empty the tank as best she can to try and beat that. Can she do it? We've seen some splits being a little off here, but it looks like this one is bang on because Mekdes Woldu is powering to the finish. It's a huge personal best for her, 31.47. And amid the pain, there is a smile in there somewhere for Mekdes Woldu. What a performance. She has taken about 30 seconds off her personal best. And like you said, she will be confirmed officially this month as a French citizen, and she will be representing France, all going well internationally. If she can secure that Olympic standard, the Olympic qualifier over 10,000 meters, she will be hopefully making her way to Tokyo. And she said it's long been a dream of hers to represent for France. She admitted the application back in 2016. It's been many years in the making, and 5 years later, she'll be hopefully ready to run for France. She said, I hope to be able to run for France. And she said to sing the Marseillaise. So I think we'll give her a few minutes, and then maybe we'll ask Mekdes to sing the Marseillaise for us to celebrate. She's great reasons to celebrate this month. I think that's her manager, Riyad Ouled there. A big pat on the back for Mekdes Woldu. So I think we are ready over at the interview section, and I think Adam Katz-Zinding has grabbed one of our champions. I'm sure it's the men's champion, so we'll go over to Adam and see who he's grabbed for a conversation.
Okay, I'm over here with Hilary Kipkoech. Nice job, man. That was incredible. You took almost a minute off of your personal best. How were you feeling out there?
I'm feeling so happy.
Yeah?
Very happy.
But you came around the 5K mark here. You had about a 100-meter lead over Sondre, it seemed, and you were just cooking. You were just flying.
Yeah.
Feeling quite good. The course is quite nice, yeah?
Yes.
And how about the shoes?
Yeah, the shoes, no complaint anymore.
No complaint.
Very nice.
They're fast,
Yeah,
man.
fast.
I got them on too. All right, right on. And what's your next goal after this? After achieving such an amazing personal win?
For now, I don't know now, but it's upon the management.
Yeah.
Yeah, they will decide anything.
They're going to decide
Yeah,
for you. All
for you.
right.
Yeah.
But that was fantastic. It was very inspiring to see you push yourself so hard. It was incredible the speed you ran by me at. I could barely even focus my eyes on you. Congratulations.
Thank you
That
so
was
much.
fantastic. All right.
Yeah.
Cool.
Outstanding stuff there. And I can confirm as well that Hilary Kipkoesh's time was the world-leading performance over 10 kilometers this year. Obviously, it's a stranger, as we see that Julia Meyer, I think, coming across the line there. No, that's actually Juliette Thomas of Belgium. So her personal best was 34.52. And we'll try and pull up the results and see if she managed to break that. I didn't have the clock going since the finish. And Adam will soon be catching up with our women's champion, Mekdes, on what's been a big month for her, of course. But here, and that is also, by the way, the leading time in the world this year that Mekdes Woldu has run so far for 10 kilometers. Outstanding stuff from her. And we'll give her a moment to recover before we grab a conversation. And we're not far away. We'll also be soon talking to the coach of both Sondre Moen and Renato and Julian Wanders. We'll be bringing Renato Canova in here for a chat. We'll also be talking to marketing director for Europe of ASICS about what exactly went into the meta speed. I'm going to be trying to get the secrets out of him, as little as he wants to tell me. Hilary Kipkoesh, though, outstanding performance by the Kenyan, the fastest 10k time in the world this year on the roads of 27.34. He ran this field into the ground. Huge personal best. Same too for George Blanco in second, and indeed Koen Naert in fourth. His personal best was by a second, as you see the start line there. Mekdes Woldu. And it was cool at the start, but these athletes were covered in sweat and the sun was that bit higher in the sky at the finish. And really, Hilary Kipkoesh, she was down as a pacemaker, and for much of the race we thought he was a pacemaker, but I guess some days when you're on, and he was certainly on today, clearly feeling very good there. And it was only a few kilometers into the race where he dropped the absolute hammer on these guys. And these are no mugs, these guys. So we have Adam, by the way, has grabbed our women's champion, Mekdes Woldu. So we'll see what she has to say about her big personal best.
Okay, I'm over here with Mekdes Woldu. Congratulations, that was also incredible. 30 seconds above your personal, or below your personal best. What an accomplishment.
Yeah, it's I'm really happy for that. I wish a little bit. I would like to do normally like 31:30, but the first 5K I was not really good. I can't breathe very well, but we did the best the last 5K, and yeah, I'm so happy to do sub 32. Yeah, of course, 30 seconds is a lot for sub best, so yeah, I'm really happy.
I mean, racing against yourself is a very difficult thing, but to have that kind of accomplishment is a very nice win for yourself. It's not like racing in a big pack. How did you find the course?
Yeah, it's a little bit different, I never been the race like that.
Yeah.
It's different, You have just one person in front of you,
yeah.
So you have to follow him, and yeah, it's quite nice and different. Yeah.
We're living in different times, so we have to adapt to the situation. But that was fantastic, absolutely. I was very inspired seeing you come around at the 5K mark. You were flying. It was incredible.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you to you. Thanks for having me, and I'm really happy to be the part of this race. And of course, I say thanks a lot for ASICS Europe for that, to give me the chance to beat my personal best. And yeah, thank you so much for everyone.
Incredible. Very inspiring stuff. Thank you so much, Mekdes.
Thank you to you.
Have a good day.
Thank you.
Great to see that performance from Mekdes, and great to see her smiling so wide there. A huge personal best for Mekdes Woldu, 31.46, outstanding performance. And that is also a personal best in second for Julia Meyer. Takes 13 seconds off her personal best. And the same, I think, for Juliette Thomas in third with 34.17. I think that is also a personal best. And indeed it is. That takes a huge amount off her personal best for Juliette Thomas. So these athletes are very much living up to the hype here. When you call an event, beat your personal best or be at your personal best, while many of them are surpassing it or being very close to it. And we have one more big race to come, and that's coming up in less than 20 minutes' time. But back in the booth here, I'm delighted to say I've been joined by Italian coach Renato Canova. And for anyone interested in distance running, they will know that Renato Canova is one of the foremost experts on distance running in the world. And his relevance here today, of course, is even more because he is coach of Sondre Moen and indeed Julian Wanders. So we'll be asking him a few questions. Renato, welcome. That performance from Sondre, what did you make of it?
So.
Where are you going?
I'm going to go back to the booth for a minute.
Okay. Sondre might come.
Oh, okay, then I'm
Might
staying.
come. So,
Okay.
because
I need his time.
From the training
I need
that he had in Norway, I suppose it possible to run under 28 minutes. Probably he was a second after 5 kilometers, and his idea, his motivation was to win here with the new company, ASICS, something like this. And when saw Hillary, that is another our group in Kenya, going so fast, probably lost the motivation, and that was the reason. I waited something under 28, honestly.
Yeah, and Hillary Kipkoech, did people expect that performance
Yes,
from today? Yeah,
I expected it, because he had already 28, 22 in altitude, and his training was really good in the last period. So I knew that he could run 27:30 or also better in a competition with more people, of course. Yeah. He was practically was a tempo because it was in front from the beginning, and but it's not a surprise for me.
Yeah, and what do you like about Hillary? Is there something he's been doing differently? That's kind of because obviously, I guess, even if he's had that really good performance at altitude, his personal best going back last year or the year before didn't, I guess, suggest the 27, that kind of performance. Like, what has led to his breakthrough?
You speak about Sondre always.
Hillary.
Hillary.
Yeah.
But Hillary, the problem, he never had the opportunity to run abroad out of Kenya. No, and I think that is an athlete not yet ready for half marathon because his training is not yet too much, but he's a really talented. No problem in this year to arrive maybe with other two opportunities in 10 kilometers, very close to 27 minutes. And of course, we look for him also for trying a half marathon before the end of the year, and after to move step by step to marathon like the most part of people running on the road.
Well, that was an amazing performance today, so I'm sure there's exciting things ahead for him. And in terms of, obviously, your other athlete, Julian Wanders, is probably about 15 minutes away from taking to the start line in the 5 kilometers. What do you think we can expect or hope from him today?
We can't wait from Julian a very good race today because he was sick in Kenya and recently. And he lost 1 week, a full week, with the beginning of pneumonia. And when he started the next day running, he told me, I can't run at 6 minutes per kilometer, so I was completely destroyed. And it was only 10 days ago. So at the end, we decided to see only during the last 3 or 4 days if here could be only to pace only or to try to run. I met him today. The last 2 workouts were not really good, but not so bad. He decided to run. But of course, he's not a Julien in shape, this one. No, because the sickness was really, really hard.
Mm. And like Sondre and Julian, both of them very much credit the work, the fact that they moved to Kenya and they spend so much time training in Kenya. For athletes like them and for European athletes, and obviously the amount of time you spent in Kenya, what is it that the Kenyans do that these guys have learned from over the years and that maybe other athletes should be learning from?
One of the problem, I think, of European generally is that they fear, the Kenyan and also Ethiopian, but not normally, can produce a big problem on the mind of European because you don't know who are. I give an example about Sondre. He won Fukuoka with the European record in marathon, remaining alone with Karoki. And after 35 kilometers, he was the one going and was able to have a big negative split. The second part of the race always better because, of course, was mentally, for him, was a big goal to be alone, to beat all the Kenyans and to have a performance. He didn't look for the European record, but came a European record. 2 years ago, in Valencia, his shape was a little bit better. And looking at the official list of participants, he put in his mind that I go to win. No, I try to win. No, because what happened? He beat really all the athletes that had a time, the marathon runners. So he won the race with marathon runners, but was number 6 because 5 athletes that never ran a marathon, coming from Ethiopia and Kenya, no, the first marathon of their life, beat him, and was the situation of the race. Because at 30 kilometers in 1 hour 28:21, there were yet 15 people together. And when the first Kenyan started to have 1 kilometer in 2:45, like this, no, because they run in wild way. Sometimes it's also good, but it's not always the system for a European. So what happened? No, all the athletes were able to follow, not exactly 2:45, but till 2:50, 2:52, something that Sondre was not able to do. So he saw, after 30, 14 people escaping. And he wasted the possibility to run the personal best with 5 kilometers very slow between 30 and 35. After what happened? He started to see this African already dead. So he had again the stimulus for going ahead. At the end, ran 2:06:16, number 6, 10 meters before the number 5, after the number 5, 20 meters after the number 4. And his position in this race was number 3, absolutely with under 2:05.
Yeah, so it's
so
much
it was
about
a psychological situation.
Yeah.
When he ran his best times, for example, on track in Kristiansand, 27:24, he was alone in the last 3 kilometers, but in front. No? So we need to think that while Julien, for example, always has a group in training in Kenya, Sondre normally is alone in training.
Yeah.
And this can be an advantage when you are in front, but can be a disadvantage because mentally when you see somebody going and you are not able to stay, you lose the practically the motivation a little bit during the race.
Gotcha.
Also today,
I hate to cut across you, Renato, but we're going to have to probably wrap it up there because we're just having to bring in another interview before the next race. But I guess the point you were making is that psychologically, Sondre has learned a huge amount from
because the shape
absorbing
is not bad
the
at
thing.
the moment.
Yeah, and listen, thank you so much for taking the time. And sorry to cut across you, but we have to just bring in another quick interview before the race. And fingers crossed from a great performance from
now we see
Julian.
Exactly.
Thank you very much, Renato. So we're going to be.
Okay, I'm here with Sondre Moen after his run for the 10K. So you came in at 28:34, is that correct? And how are you feeling about that?
You have to show him.
It's about 1 minute faster than my marathon pace. So it was. I tried to be competitive, but I'm in a hard training period, and it was when Hillary made his move after I think 2.5K or something, I could not follow, and I was a bit yeah, I was alone there, and yeah, it was a hard day at work, but it's a nice course, nice weather. Happy to be here. But yeah, I was expecting to run closer to 28 flat, but didn't work out today.
It was still a fantastic effort. I mean, when you came by me here in the roundabout, you were just flying. Your stride was wide, and you looked like you were feeling a little bit of pain. But I mean, that's the whole point, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't feel that much pain. I mean, the legs felt good, but it was more in the
chest.
More in the chest.
Yeah,
so
sure.
I believe the shoes can help me to achieve my goal this summer.
I mean, and being there, kind of racing against yourself, it's quite a difficult thing, but it's also a nice goal to have your own numbers, racing against your own numbers. How does that feel in this format compared to, a standard race pre-pandemic times?
Yeah, I mean, we are living in it's a special. Last year was special, this year is special, and it's, I mean, we are getting more and more used to run at airports or in the courses in the forest, far away from from big crowds, and but it's, I think, I competed in races like this also back home last year, so it's a new way of
of doing it.
Yeah.
Okay. And so, with 15 weeks out before the marathon in Tokyo, what's the plan in the coming weeks? Just keep training, or anything special?
No, I think I have trained hard enough. I can tell you that. So it's still some weeks until the specific the last period towards my marathon. So I have to make sure that I'm fit and fresh when I start the last 10-12 weeks training for Olympics. So it's not about taking a break, but it's to freshen up a bit. And I tried this week, but it seems like my body needs a little bit more time to get fresh, so that my body allows me to run, to push a little bit harder from earlier on. So today was hard to dig really deep. But it's a combination of, if you are not really fresh enough, it's and it's 10K is short when you train for the marathon.
Yeah,
but,
sure. 10K is about my max, but it was very, very inspirational seeing you out there. It seems like you're fit, so good luck in the coming weeks, and thanks for coming out and showing us what you can do. That was amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Tusen takk.
Thank you.
And back over here in the booth, I'm delighted to say I've been joined by the marketing director for ASICS France, Arnaud Leroux, and we're going to talk about this thing, the magic shoe, as many people are calling it, the ASICS Metaspeed Sky. Arnaud, a lot of people have we've seen some amazing performances from the likes of Sarah Hall, Beth Potter, and many personal bests here today. So tell us, what has gone into this shoe that makes it so fast?
Yes, the shoe is clearly a part of the performance of the athlete. The shoe that I have in my hand actually is the Metaspeed Sky. It's actually the one that all the athletes are wearing today. It's actually the second version of our carbon plate shoe. The first launch that we had was a year ago. It was called the Meta Racer, and this one actually was launched just a few weeks ago. It's the brand new innovation and technology that we have. Actually, you have in the midsole a new foam called the Flight Foam Blast and Turbo. Actually, it's really about the energy boost that you can get. Inside of this, you have a carbon plate all along the shoe, which basically helps propel you forward and really get this energy kick that you need. The mesh is very light and breathable, and the shape of the sole actually is like a rocking chair. Actually, it enables the ankle to move a little bit less and save energy. So it's really a great help for the runner to actually be at their personal best.
And I'm sure it was a nervous time for probably you. I know a lot of athletes were involved, like Koen, in the development of the shoe, giving feedback, but I'm sure it's always nervous once you bring it to market and the athletes get out there. But what has the feedback been like from athletes once they've got it in training and once they've used it in races?
Yeah, you're right. Actually, we rely a lot on the athletes, testimonials and feedbacks all along the development journey. Actually, a shoe like that, actually the work starts like 2 years ago. It takes a long time, and we really want to make sure that what they will wear is actually going to help them the most. So this shoe was launched end of March, just very soon. So far, the results are just amazing. It's really a blast because the product is really good. The athletes have really endorsed it and really shared a very positive feedback about it. So I'm sure that more and more runners are going to choose this kind of shoe and really improve their own personal best in the future.
Absolutely. And finally, like, it's great to be here at a live sporting event when things are so hard in so many places around Europe and around the world at the moment. Why for ASICS was it so important to put on an event like this and to give athletes a competitive opportunity when there are so few?
Yeah, because of the COVID-19 pandemic, clearly for a year there was no event for athletes, but also for the normal runners like me. So it's a bit boring, and so we wanted to create an event at least to entertain the running experience. On top of that, we've signed a lot of great athletes, Julian Wanders and Sondre Nordstad Moen and others. So we really wanted to strike the minds of the people and do something. Plus, we have those incredible shoes that just been launched. So putting everything together, we created this event. The idea is really to provide a great running event to the people. It has been certified by the French Athletic Federation and also by World Athletics. So all the performance that you see today will be, we have the stamp and it will be certified. And I hope that many people all around the world are watching us on this live broadcast to have a great running moment while taking their breakfast.
Excellent. I'm sure many will be inspired to go out and beat or be at their own personal best. Arnaud, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
And we're only about 90 seconds or 2 minutes away from the final and the next race here, the 5 kilometers, and the Metaspeed Sky, I'm sure, will be flying around the course, as the athletes will indeed for this. Will we see more records? We will certainly see some more personal bests. Coming up in the next race, of course, on the men's side, Julian Wanders is the big star. We'll see. His fitness was great up until 2 weeks ago, but a little sickness may have affected him, or it may not have, depending. We'll soon find out how quick he can go over 5 kilometers. And in the women's race, Sweden's Sara Latti will have one eye firmly on that Swedish national record, which she is just off at the moment. So we're only mere moments away from that. And we'll bring you through some of the start lists here, and we'll get you a shot of the athletes as they prepare over at the start line. It's all quiet here, of course, no crowds in this place. It's Center Parks has been obviously not in use at the moment as a holiday resort, but it's very much in use today, and it's been taken over by this select group of athletes and support staff here from ASICS who have worked so hard to put on this performance. And as you see, World Best Performance of the Year in 2021 by Hilary Kipkoech. Outstanding performance by the Kenyan. We didn't know enough about him beforehand because he was listed as a pacemaker, and we assumed he'd be stepping off the course after 6 or 7 or 8 kilometers, but he didn't just finish it, he finished firmly in front by over a minute. As we see, the athletes but they will be back behind the start line. We have a different start line for the 5 kilometers. Or, sorry, it's the same start line, it's a different finish line, and of course only one loop to do, which is psychologically always a little bit easier. And I said 5 minutes to go, but it seems the schedule I have is a little off because it's going to be starting at 10 a.m. I'm going to see if I can put these Metaspeed Skies in my bag and run away, even if they're not my size. I'll put them on and run a little bit faster before anyone notices. So just 4 minutes to go to the start as we see Mekdes Woldu there coming across the line, the pain etched all over her face, her pacemaker, Merhawi, stepping aside and rightfully giving her the moment of glory. You'll see that picture all over social media. And congratulations to Mekdes. Huge, huge personal best for her. Hunched over in agony. It's a painful, painful distance, 10 kilometers. But she very much mastered it today. And who can master the 5 kilometers which we have coming up? This will be fast and furious from the outset. Julian Wanders has spoken about beating his personal best, which is 13:29. There he is on the left ear shot with his two pacemakers, training partners. And we'll see just how quick he can go today. So there's your full lineup. Julian Wanders of Switzerland, Felix Boer of France, Aude Korachensky of France, Elias Jonas Osman of Somalia. In the women's race, the big favourite there, Sarah Latti of Sweden with that 15:38 personal best. She'll be certainly looking to rewrite that. And she sounds confident. She said she didn't want to talk about times too much coming here today. It's not really her style to talk about, to predict and put it out there. Most distance runners are kind of shy and reserved types generally. They don't like making big predictions or talking too brash for fear of failure, but I'm sure, just speaking to her, she was quietly confident about the way her training and preparations have gone. And I think she'll be expecting something big here today. The temperatures have picked up a little. Julian Wanders has been told, they've just been told 2-3 minutes to go, and they'll soon be approaching the line. And ready for the start of our final race of the day. It's been a beautiful morning so far, and we've seen some very fast times. Can Julian Wanders, Sarah Latti, and indeed the others in here produce something special? It could be possible. And it's funny, just speaking to Julian Wanders yesterday, you know, he spoke about obviously his personal best 13:29, but he thinks he's going to go out at around 2:40 per kilometre, which is 13:20 pace. Like we said, the European record stands to France's Jimmy Gressier at 13:18, which he ran in Monaco. Can Julian Wanders possibly challenge that? He said up until 2 weeks ago he was very confident of it. He was training really, really well. He was running 180 to 200 kilometres a week. He was doing some crazy track sessions. He told me one track session he did at altitude, remember. Now think about this. If any of you have run a track session, 200 metres in 28 seconds, 2 minutes rest, 1 kilometre in 2:45, 2 minutes rest, and then a 200 metres in 26 seconds. That's quite tough on its own, right? He did that 10 times. Yeah, at altitude. Anyway, he said it lasted 2 hours, that session. So we see our two big stars there in these races wearing the different kits to differentiate them, but can they differentiate themselves when it matters out on the road? Sarah Latti of Sweden on the left, Julian Wanders of Switzerland on the right. They're going to try to stamp their supremacy over this field, but most importantly here, because it's not about racing each other as much as it is about racing the clock here today, can they beat their personal bests or be at them? So the minutes tick by. The breeze has just kicked up. Some of my notes are being threatened to blow away here, but I think that the trees along the course should shelter them a little as they prepare. Julian Wanders, he says he's going to start off at about 2:40 per kilometre. Will he be as good as his word? His coach Renato Canova did not sound confident in terms of, he said he's not going to be right at his best, as he said, struggling to run a 6-minute kilometre a couple of weeks ago. He was in bed. He told me yesterday he had pneumonia, and it was not a good situation. But he also said since he came back down to sea level from Kenya, his lungs, his breathing has felt much better, and he feels like he's back to normal. And it's funny with things like this, with sicknesses, obviously they can deplete you and they can knock you back, but occasionally they can, if you're fully back to health, they can basically be an accidental taper where you've had a chance, your body has a chance to recover from the hard training, that 200 kilometers a week he's been running, and has had a chance to rest up. And sometimes you can still have that residual fitness even if you miss a couple of weeks training. So can Julian Wanders produce something special? He has gone out like a bat out of hell. So his two pacemakers in front of him, he's been chasing them down. They're his training partners, Matthew Kibet-Kibaros and Boniface Kibiwat. And Julian did flag up with me beforehand that, you know, they are pacing him, but they're also probably going to finish. And as we saw in the last race with Hilary Kepkoish, he didn't just finish, he crushed his rivals. So can one of Julian Wanders' training partners, Matthew Kibet-Kibaros or Boniface Kibiwat, possibly do the same to him? There'll be no love lost on the journey home if so. But back in the women's field, we see Sarah Latti there. Also in the women's field is Leila Hadji of France, Christina Hendel of Germany, Ludovico Cavalli of Italy, and Aude Korachensky of France. Hadji is a 16:03 athlete at her best on the track, but she has no 10 kilometer time listed on the roads, so We'll have to see if she's able to. She will get a personal best regardless once she makes it to the finish line, but can she perhaps challenge that track PB of 16:03 which she ran in 2019? That's Christina Hendel there of Germany as well, 16:27 athlete at her best, gone out there. Looks to be running strong at the moment. She's a dual nationality with Croatia, and she was many Croatian titles in the distance events and the steeplechase. She's on the track, she's 10,000 metre PBs of 33.33, 16:06 on the track for 5,000 metres, and 16:27 is her best on the road, so looks to be well capable of lowering that today. But back to the main man in this field, Julian Wanders, the Swiss athlete. He's one of the great stories as well, like Sondre Moen in distance running. Grew up in Geneva in Switzerland, and when he was in high school, his last year of high school, he's about 16 years old, he said, he had to do an essay and he could pick any subject he wanted, so he did. I'm going to answer the question in my essay, why do Kenyans dominate at distance running? And he wrote that essay, and then he was as good as his word. He basically, after college, he decided to go out to Kenya and find out for real, and he had a few heated discussions, I would say, with his parents about whether or not to go to university, and he said, no, I feel like I need to chase the full-time running dream. Spent a month in Kenya crashing with a friend of his out there, and then he said, this is my lifestyle, this is what I'm going to do with my life. I'm going to move to Kenya full-time. I'm going to try hard. He was living on a shoestring budget, Julian Wanders, but he trained like the Kenyans. He said they're the best athletes in the world. I want to go and find out what makes them so good, and basically train like them, think like them. Both his parents are professional musicians, and he said that probably helped. It's not so much a job as a vocation and something you do really for passion, and that's always the approach he's taken to his sport. And he says over the years he's really learned to live like a Kenyan and think like a Kenyan. He says, you know, when I'm in Geneva, I'm stressed and I have a lot of things going on. He's like, when I'm out in Kenya, I finish training, I relax, I eat, I sleep, I do nothing else. And it truly is committing himself full time to the running dream, and it's paid big dividends over the years. He is truly an outstanding athlete for European distance running and a truly world-class operator. Like we said, European record at 10 kilometers on the road, 27:13 in Valencia last year. En route, he set en route to his half marathon European record at the RAK race. He set a 15-kilometer European record as well, and his European half marathon record, Wanders, is 59:13. But it's funny, I was just watching a video a few weeks back of that race, and Wanders said he ate something bad two nights before the race and he was vomiting and felt awful. So, you know, he produced a European record after that. Can he produce a European record after a bout of pneumonia 2 weeks ago? It would be an outstanding performance if he can, and he's certainly going for it here, Wanders, and we'll keep an eye on the clock and we'll keep an eye on those flags at the side for the 2 kilometer splitter, the big white banners, because 5:20 is the split he will be looking at. As we see the women's time there, 3 minutes. Well, it says 3:0. I'm not sure if that's correct, because Sarah Latti, I wouldn't say went out with 3 minutes per kilometre. I think she was planning to go for around the 15:40 mark, which is 3:08 per kilometre. And we'll see if she's able to maintain. It's great to see Sarah Latti as well back to her best and really in flying form. She set the Swedish 1 hour record last year in Brussels. As we see Wanders there, and I think beside him that is Ivan Fernandez. And it's still grouped together, I'm not quite sure, and the fact it's grouped so tightly makes me think that he's not quite going at the pace that, in terms of European record pace, maybe just decided, given the situation, to back off and be a little bit more reserved and sensible, I suppose, given the situation. You know, big things coming up later this year. He obviously feels back to health, but having lost perhaps a little bit of fitness, a little bit of his strength, a little bit of his prowess, maybe he said not today for the European record, and started thinking of that personal best, which is 13:29 for Julian Wanders. And beside him, that is Pietro Riva of Italy, just also pushing the pace at the front. His personal best is 14:04, the 20-year-old. He was the European under-20 champion at 10,000 metres before, and he's a half marathon PB of 62 minutes, does Riva. So he should be well able, the 23-year-old, of breaking 14 minutes with times like that. And we'd expect him to go well under it. He is certainly running right upside Julian Wanders at the moment, but how quick can Wanders go? We shall see. But it's funny, he said as well, talking about how he kind of mentality has shifted since he moved to Kenya. He said The difference is really these days, I don't think in limits. He says when you come to an event like this, as we see 5:18 there is the split at 2K. So it has gone very fast. If that is correct, this has gone out very, very fast. And I struggle to believe that is correct, given there's so many athletes running at that pace, because 5:18 at 2 kilometers is sub 13:20 pace, which would mean that all of these men are running under the European record pace. It's possible, but I would reserve judgment for the moment. As you see Wanders there, he's just drifted a little bit back through the pace, or through the pack at the moment. And it looks like Pietro Riva, who is really to the fore at the moment, along with our pacemakers. And we'll look back to the women's race at the moment, and Sarah Latti, who is sitting in the pack there with the pacemakers. Again, 15:38, her personal best. We'll have a big eye on that here today. The Swedish record is 15:31, which is held by Meraf Bata. That was set in December last year, and she will have one eye on that, I think. You see they're getting great shelter, and this surface here is as good as it gets, really, in terms of running speed. I just went for a little cycle and a little jog in it yesterday, and it feels like a track almost. It grips so well, and it's entirely flat. And obviously, besides those U-turns that sort of trip around the roundabout, very little in terms of things to break up your rhythm. So we see here in the men's race, and it looks like Wanders has become highly detached there. Yeah, he's well off the back. He's a good 50-60 meters off the back. So we said there could be some shocks here, and we're seeing them here. And perhaps it's no surprise given what he went through a couple of weeks ago. He said he was in great shape, but when the pneumonia hit him, he felt like he probably wouldn't be able to get here at all. But obviously when he got his health back, he decided to come in the end, and it's not going to be a good day at the office for Julian Wanders, but he is not a quitter. It's not in his makeup, and he is going to make it to the finish no matter what. Well, Julian Wanders. Sarah Latti, how quick can she go though? It's great to see her back. She really, after breaking out really at the Rio Olympics with that Swedish record over 10,000 meters, she really underwent a torrid time in 2017 and 2018. She ran 31:28, that Swedish 10,000 meter record, back in 2016. And 2018, yeah, she just pushed herself a bit too hard on a training camp, she said, in Flagstaff, and picked up a stress fracture in her hip, kept her out for about 3 months, and then even the following year she had to undergo surgery on her Achilles in 2019. So she spent a lot of time out of the sport, a lot of time on the bike, and a lot of time struggling, and it really is wonderful. She got back last year and put in a full season, and it was brilliant to see her back to her very best. Sarah Latti of Sweden, and she will be tackling that personal best of 15:38. As we see, it's Boniface Kibiwat in the men's race, who is out front at the moment, and he's run some races much like Sarah Latti, raced a good bit in Sweden towards the end of 2019, but aside from that we have very few results on Boniface Kibiwat. Like we said, he's in as a pacemaker, but as we saw happen in the men's race, it looks like Kibiwat is going to be the king here in the 5k race. But Sarah Latti, we see the other leading men trying to chase down, and that is Pietro Riva at the moment on the left of your shot, and it's Etienne Daguinot on the right, the Frenchman, the 21-year-old only. He is running a great race at the moment, as we see Riva dropping back a little, and Felix Boer is just behind him there, sitting in that slipstream, trying to draft as well as he can. Daguinot doesn't have a personal best listed for 10 kilometers on the road, but he is a fine athlete who has run 14:01 on the track. As we go back to Sarah Latti, drafting in behind her two pacemakers. Mohamed Amin Kadad is one of those pacemakers, and she looks to be running well at the moment as she's entering now the final kilometers here at the ASICS Be At Your Personal Best event in Domaine Les Bois Adam, near the town or the village of Morton here in the French countryside. It's really an idyllic setting. It doesn't get much better than this in terms of serene environments. And the whole ASICS motto is, of course, in the top left of your screen, sound mind, sound body, and the athletes who've been here for the last couple of days have been relaxing well, just enjoying the scenery, enjoying the peace and quiet, and the birds tweeting, and the deer roaming around the environment here. Like we said, normally this is a holiday theme park, so it's all about relaxation, but there's nothing relaxed about what the athletes are doing here. Sarah Latti, as she comes now, she's going to be coming up to 4k split pretty soon, I'd say. She'd be hoping to get there in around 12:30 or so. We see the men's split 10:40 at 4K. So just 1K left for the men. It looks like they are on for some huge personal bests here. If they can bring it home strong. Men are churning now. They're on the road back to home, and they'll be getting a bit of a wind in their faces at the moment, and that might just disrupt them a bit. And Felix Bohr is really churning that pace at the front. You can see that slight forward lean. And you can hear in the silence, the lack of crowds really does expose what these athletes go through, just what it's like. You can almost feel like you're running among them there as Felix Bohr runs ahead of Etienne Daguinot. They're running alone there. They're just breaking clear at the moment. That's Napoleon Solomon. Sorry, that's not Napoleon Solomon. That is, I think, Ilyas Yonis Osman. He's trying to keep pace there, but you're just going to swing around. It's a very gentle turn here. Obviously, as a distance runner, you want to avoid any sharp turns, if at all. And Felix Bohr is cranking the pressure up at the front. And I think looking down the road, Boniface Kibiwat, though, has set sail. Our original pacemaker trains with Julian Wanders' group. Wanders, of course, not having his best day here today. We're back to the women's race, and Sarah Latti is, as we expected her to be, all on her own. We'll try and check in on how Christina Hendel and Leila Haji are also doing, but 12:18 for the women at 4K. So Sarah Latti is running very well here. This is going to be huge from Sarah Latti if that split is correct. Like I said, we've sometimes seen it being a bit confusing, but Kibiwat is on his way to the finish, but Sarah Latti looks like she's on for something huge if she can keep that pace going for the final kilometres. But we'll focus on the men's race for now, because Boniface Kibiwat in as a pacemaker, in to help Julian Wanders achieve his dream. But the Kenyan 27-year-old is achieving a dream of his own. He doesn't have a road personal best for 10 kilometres, so this is going to be one no matter how slow he finishes. But this is very fast, 13:22, 13:23 or so as he comes across the line. A massive, huge personal best for Boniface Kibiwat, and up to the line with 13:32 on the clock. Felix Bohr comes across, huge personal best for him, and indeed Etienne Daguinot, who's absolutely delighted with that. Ilyas Yonis Osman comes across the line. His personal best is 14:10. He smashes that. Our other pacemaker, Matthew Kibirus, and then that is Pietro Riva. 14:04 was his personal best. He smashes his personal best. Also, really some outstanding running here today. Ivan Fernandez, I think, came across there as well. As we see, Julian Wanders, it's a bad day at the office for Julian Wanders, but when you've had a bout of pneumonia, the body is always going to take some time to bounce back. And indeed, it will take some time. That is Ivan Fernandez there coming across the line also with him. But Julian Wanders, yeah, the body clearly not right for Wanders. So this will be a day to forget for him, but I'm sure it will have been nice to basically confirm to his body, I suppose, that he's back to at least health, if not to full fitness but yet. But like we said, there's 14 weeks until the athletics begins at the Rio Olympics, and he'll be targeting the 10,000 metres there and possibly also the 5,000 metres. So it's good to see him back to health. And now it's all about Sarah Latti, because how fast can she go here today? Swedish 5K record is 15:31 by Meraf Bata. Latti's personal best coming in was 15:38, and it looks like she's on for something big. You see the grimace on her face. You'd be shocked to see anything different at this point in the race. But she is powering to the line here in the ASICS Metaspeed Sky. You can see the knee taped up. She's had her injury problems over the years, Sarah Latti, but she looks to have conquered them and put them firmly behind her, because she is powering up to the finish here. She's based in the Netherlands, and the Dutch courage is fully on show here, because Sarah Latti powers to the line. It's a huge personal best, and it's a Swedish record. 15:21, 15:22 or so, and her two pacemakers come across and give her an applause. Sarah Latti has obliterated. She's taken 16 seconds or so off her personal best. She's taken about 10 seconds off the Swedish record. 15:21 for Sarah Latti. What a performance by the Swedish 26-year-old. And when that pain subsides, she will be very, very happy with when she gets that official confirmation on the time. As we see the other athletes coming through there, that's Leila Haji on the left, put the arms aloft. Her personal best was not listed for on the road, so she's obviously got a big personal best there. Fast time well below 16 minutes. well done to her. And I think it was Christina Hendel as well, who was 16:27, was her previous quickest time. So she has absolutely obliterated that as well. But Sarah Latti, really the star of the show here today, along with Matthew Kipkoech, of course, who's won that world leading time in the men's 10K. This is Ludovico Cavalli of Italy. Her personal best was 17:18. So obviously we didn't expect her to feature up the front with Sarah Latti, but this is not about racing each other so much as it is about racing yourself, your previous self. And Ludovico Cavalli of Italy, well, she, like Sarah Latti, is going to absolutely smash her personal best. 17:18 before today. She's going to be well inside, I think, 17 minutes, or maybe just inside this. It's a bit of a foreshortening effect there, but 16:55 or so for Ludovico Cavalli as she comes across the line, the 20-year-old Italian. Brilliant running from her. Been running a few indoor races mostly this year, but outstanding stuff. But yeah, Sarah Latti is one of the stories of the day here, really. Of course, we've seen some outstanding runs already this year, and indeed in the ASICS Metaspeed Sky, Beth Potter, of course, the triathlete specialist, I suppose, who's mixed between triathlon and distance running, Rio Olympian over 10,000 meters. She ran under the current world record of 14:40. She ran 14:41 in Barrowford in England it was earlier this month now. It wasn't ratified as an official world record, of course, because it was the rules around drug testing and course measurements and that. It was such a small meet that they weren't already in place for a record, but everything is in place here for such procedures, and there will be no doubts about Sarah Latti's time, because it will be very much ratified as a Swedish record. Outstanding stuff from her, and what a start. She's obviously, it's not entirely the start. To Olympic year, she already ran 31:59 to finish second in Dresden, Germany, over 10 kilometers. And I don't think she'll have too many problems really getting that qualification and booking her place at the Olympics. Talking about her workouts, I was asking her some of her toughest workouts. She said, I like them all really when it's tough. So we see the men's results. Boniface Kibiwat, well, he ran his rivals into the ground. Comes home 10 seconds in front of Felix Boer. A big personal best for him in second. And I believe Adam is catching up with our women's winner, Sarah Latti.
What do you say to me?
Hey, I'm here with Sweden's Sarah Latti, who's just created an amazing new number for herself. Your previous personal best was 15:38, and you just did 15:22, 21.
Yeah, something
fantastic.
Like that.
That's a massive improvement. How do you feel right now?
Yeah, I'm really happy.
Yeah.
I was feeling really easy the first 3K, and I was looking to my watch. So I think, okay, if I just keep that pace, I will take the record. But I was thinking maybe not. I was not going to run this time, but maybe around 15:28 or something. But I'm really happy.
Fantastic. And how are you feeling now after it's all passed?
Yeah, super. You know, you're always nervous before a race, and you always want to do your best. And ASICS did this amazing event for us, and then you also want to show your best shape, and I did. So
Sure.
I'm really happy.
And running against yourself, basically, in this situation, how does that differ from a normal, event?
Yeah, you know, normally in training I run a lot south, and I have my boyfriend who's pacing me on the bike. So actually I'm pretty used to have just some guys in front of me and just hang on. So for me it was not really a big difference.
Okay, perfect.
From my normal.
But you're feeling good, feeling proud, I assume?
Yes, for sure. I'm really happy.
Perfect. Thank you so much for running today. That was incredible to watch.
Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah, national record.
Yeah, national record.
It was the record?
Yeah, it was the record.
Oh, fantastic. Okay, it was the record, everybody. Fantastic. Congratulations. Now I know.
Great to get that instant reaction there after the interview. To see that Sarah Latti, when she was told it is a national record, as you see there, runners are always thinking about Strava and stuff like that, and their GPS, always hitting the watch at the finish line. Did it even happen if it's not on there? But she hit the watch. 15:22, outstanding stuff from Sarah Latti. Really does set her up for a big year now outdoors. Leila Haji, that is also a personal best for her in second. And Christina Hendel with 15:51, a huge personal best for her. 36 seconds she has carved off her road 5 kilometer personal best for the German. So well done to her. I know her son Jonathan, He's about 5 years old now. He'll be watching, I'm sure, back home. As we see, the piste descends here over Les Bois au Domaine. I've practiced that so many times and I still get it wrong. Apologies to all the French viewers for my terrible accent. I think Adam might be trying to track down our men's winner. The outstanding performance. The pacers were the racers and the kings of the field here, Boniface Kibiwat. I'm sure he'll be trying to track down a conversation with him, but we've seen some really, really outstanding performances. Sarah Latti, she said she's been in Font-Romeu for the last few weeks training, and she's planning to run a 10,000 meters, she told me yesterday, in Stockholm soon, because she still has to tick off that standard, but on the basis of that, I don't think she'll have any problems with that, really. And she said she was trying out the shoes for the last couple of weeks. She said they're amazing. I really need to get myself a pair. No, I run too slow. I don't think it'll make a difference. But Sarah Latti, she's coached by Honor Hood, who lives in the Netherlands. She's been based there now for about 6 or 7 years. She's been training with Honor for about the past 4 years. And really, I think Sarah Latti, she's only 26 years old, but she was so good, so young, that she's kind of been around. She kind of almost seems like she's been around a lot longer, or is a bit older than that, but she's very much not. And after those injury problems of a couple of years, you know, she's a really talented youngster, and she is finally fully back to health and in flying form here in Les Bois au Domaine. So I think Adam now is catching up with our men's champion. So let's see what he has to say about that performance.
Hey, I'm here with Etienne Daguinos. So you came in at 13:36, is that correct?
Yes.
And that is, if I'm not mistaken, that's the under 23 record for the 5K. Congratulations. How were you feeling out there?
It was an amazing race. I'm feeling very good. My legs was incredible, and the shoes too. It was an amazing day.
And how about the course? How did you feel about the course? It's fast.
Yes, very fast first kilometers.
Yeah.
I just follow the Felixbourg.
Yeah.
So I just be with him and run fast.
That's the whole goal, isn't it? Just
yes,
run
yes.
as fast as you can.
Yes.
Yeah, right on. Well, you crossed the line. You made an amazing personal best today. You're feeling good?
Yes, very good. Amazing weather. All was very good today for the PB.
Sounds like a personal best and a personally great day for Etienne here. All right, have a wonderful rest of your day.
Yeah,
Congratulations, man.
Thank you.
Really amazing.
Thank you.
Merci.
What a run from the Frenchman. And good to see a lot of the hosts turning out. Obviously, a lot of the French athletes, you know, they weren't, I suppose, the biggest names, some of them. There were a lot of the kind of the 16 and 17 minute women and the kind of 14, 13, 50 kind of men. But they really did produce. There's so many personal bests going down the field here. And it is a tribute to all the people who've worked so hard behind the scenes, because me and Adam have showed up 2 days ago and chilled in our little cottages really and had a nice little time to do this commentary. But there's been so many people at ASICS working behind the scenes and on site here for many months. And who've really done so much work to make this all possible. And I think Adam is going to try and track down our men's champion. And we'll see what Boniface Kibiwat, I think it might be, has to say. Well, I'm not too sure. I can't actually see where he is from my position here in my commentary booth to the side, but we'll see who he catches up with in a moment. Athletes will be keen to get off for their warm down and recover their breath, and it's always a cruel thing to drag them in for an interview, but at the same time we want to hear what they have to say here as they be at or beat their personal bests here in this idyllic scene in the French countryside of France. It's so great to have some live action to report on. So many events fell by the wayside with the pandemic and continue to fall by the wayside, but it's a testament to all the people who invest the money and invest the time and invest the work and go through all the logistical headaches with athletes traveling to make it possible. And we certainly enjoyed watching them today, and I hope you did too. And I think Adam has caught up. I think he's ready to talk to Julian Wanders. So obviously not the best day at the office for Julian Wanders, but like we said, he had that illness coming in. So we'll see what he has to say. He's with Adam now.
14:13. Okay. Okay, I'm here with Julian Wanders, who's coming at 14:13 today. Previous number was 13:29. How are you feeling out there today? I know you've just come back from being very sick not so long ago.
Yes. So yeah, I really try to run my best today. I'm a competitor, so I even if I knew I was not 100%, I try to do a. I try to go for the European record, and I quickly saw that the body was not responding today. But such is life, and the most important is that I race in an amazing race organized by ASICS, and yeah, I'm really thankful to them for organizing such a race in these conditions.
I mean, for me, when I had pneumonia, I could barely get out of bed 2 weeks later. So it's incredibly inspiring to see you out pushing yourself regardless. I mean, the numbers are still very, very impressive, and I was happy to be able to witness you run. It was a big deal. So congratulations, and you can only, improve from here, right?
Yeah, sure.
That's the goal. All right. Well, wonderful race. I'm very, very proud to have been here with you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for your time, and merci.
Yeah, not a good thing to see. Julian Wanders, I suppose, not at his best, but it's great to see him back competing, and I'm sure he'll be back on the track racing over 5,000 metres and 10,000 metres in the weeks to come. But from us here in La Bois Adem, that is it. It's been a great morning, and we've seen some brilliant performances. To Boniface Kibiwat, our winner, our first home in the men's 5K. To Hilary Kipkoish, our first home in the men's 10K. To Sarah Latti, our fastest woman over 5,000 metres, and to Mekdes Woldu, our fastest woman over 10K. Congrats to you all, but it's not just about them. It was about so much more than racing each other. It was about racing your times, and the goal here today, with all the people, all the teamwork that went into making this happen, was to be at or to beat your personal best, and so many did that. I've been inspired by watching it. I hope you've enjoyed the show, and I hope you too will have taken some inspiration from these brilliant athletes, and that you too can get out and try to beat your own personal best, whether it's a 15-minute 5 kilometres or whether it's a 55-minute 5 kilometres. It's all about just surpassing your previous self. That's been the whole goal here today, and some of the elite athletes have done that brilliantly. And so thank you so much for tuning in. But for me, Cathal Dennehy, and on behalf of Adam Katzinding, it's goodbye for now.